I think the time is now. It's the coming of our generation.
I want to see a space in which more women run and more women of color run.
There's a reason that there's not a lot of people that look like myself that are in the halls of power. And that's because running for office is cost prohibitive. It's the story of my mother that has inspired me to be who I am today. Watching how hard she worked to raise me and my little brother. She doesn't have a high school degree and she's been working all these, low-wage jobs all her life. It made me realize that there needs to be people advocating for people like my mom. I think that electing folks like myself, other Bangladeshis around the country, we get that. We totally understand that. We have skin in the game.
There's a stigma attached to people who are in government based on the way people have grew up in Bangladesh. Some of them have been sidelined, and so they have that sense of, if I try to step in, this is going to impact my future, impact my children's future. And part of that is because our community is not linked very heavily and our community doesn't have the representation that other communities do. When you're one of the first at anything, that basically means that you're kind of figuring it out on your own. You're learning on the fly, so to say. Part of it is, the evolution of people just coming to terms with somebody that has a strong voice that's not just there to check the diversity box, but that's actually there to represent members of the community. And it's an ongoing process.
Policy is personal. So I've been fighting for change since my diagnosis with lupus, and even before, as a shy young girl who was just noticing inequities within the spaces. I experienced what I call a sort of awakening for myself and a politicization of really understanding the socioeconomic impacts of belonging. I recognize and question what it means to be a young Bangladeshi Muslim woman in a community where we have needs and we have needs for services and resources.
The 5 fundamental things we call in Bangla Khaddo Bastro Bashistan Shikha Chikitshai, like food, housing, clothing, and education, healthcare. Those have been a common struggle in Bangladesh for the people too. The same thing I see in America. There is no difference. I have seen how struggling it is when a person like me become parent, and how difficult it is. But end of the day, who we are raising, no matter where the children are born, which parents they're born to, all of them are our children.
The Board of Election decided to not accept my name change from Atkia to Moumita and kicked me off the ballot, as well as my colleague Mary Jobaida, her real name is Mehrun Nessa. And the Board of Elections reason was that our names weren't diminutive of our original names on the voter roll.
We grew up knowing myself Mary. People called me Mary, families, friends, schools, teachers. But Board of Election raised this question, Mary can be a name in Bangladesh, and it did not sound right in their ears, so they dropped it.
When I got kicked off the ballot, it hurt, and it became more than just being kicked off the ballot. It was about my identity. and our collective identity. We just want to push the envelope and make history for our communities.
In the beginning, they were like, watch out, Georgia, we're going to have another Ilhan Omar, as if that was like some slur. And I was like, I think she's great. Even in my own party, they're like, whoa, I don't think, folks are ready for that. I even had people in my Muslim community tell me like, Nabilah, when you first started, we were proud of you, but now we're starting to believe. We're starting to believe that you can do this, that we can do this.
Bangladeshi people do carry some kind of inheritance that whenever there is injustice, they speak up, they fight, they try to bring justice.
History teaches us to organize. It teaches us that we have to center justice in everything we do.
Coming to this country, we've always held that part of our identity, that we're fighters and survivors.
We as immigrants, we bring that history, that culture with us here, and then we contribute to the existing democracy by sharing our experience.
We are forging on and trying to make sure that we have representation for our communities.
This is a historic moment, especially in my lifetime, because never did I think I would be among a slate of Bangladeshis running across different positions. I think what's even more beautiful is that we're working to build working class power. We're working to build a leadership that prioritizes people who have been abandoned, that we don't want to see anyone left behind.
When there's so many other voices that are having different perspectives on one issue, you are more holistically representing an underrepresented community, and your voices together are amplified such that you can work together to accomplish more.
It's not about the fighting for Bengali rights or Bangladeshi or Muslim rights. It's about the rights of all of us.